Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Recently, we've talked a lot about the failings of the Clone Wars era Republic Navy, from the quality of their warships and their tactics to their disadvantages and their admirals. This begs one rather large question: how on earth did the Kaminoans so badly underprepare the Republic Navy? There are a lot of people to blame for the Republic Navy's shortcomings: Palpatine, the engineers at Kuwait, the Jedi, and many others included. But the Kaminoans deserve a particularly large part of the blame. They were entirely responsible for the early rebuilt Republic Navy. Kuwait may have been contracted to build the warships, but they were nonetheless building to Kamino's orders, and the Kaminoans were the one who turned the ships into a navy. The first problem, and really the root of all other problems, is that the Kaminoans had no idea what they were doing. Rebuilding the military might of the Republic was something new for them. They had made private clone armies before, but not on this scale, and they had no experiences with navies whatsoever. They studied galactic history to get as much of a grasp on naval warfare as possible, and considering the circumstances, they even did a decent job. But it wasn't good enough. The Kaminoans had next to no experience with naval combat as a concept, even locally. Kamino was a rather lonely world, located between the galaxy and a satellite galaxy, and it had neither neighbors to go to war with, nor a reason to care about any other galactic wars aside from the credits for cloning soldiers. Their very first experience with the concept was the Grand Army contract, and rebuilding the vaunted Republic Navy from scratch with no experience at all is no easy task. We've discussed the Navy's warship problems at length already, but this actually stems from the Kaminoans as well. The ships were built by Kuwait drive yards, but they were acting under orders from the Kaminoans, who saw the need only to request one warship type, the acclimated class assault ship, which was primarily geared toward landing troops and not warship to warship combat. While Kuwait is to blame with many later warship problems suffered by the Navy, this is not one of them. They were just filling the order they were given. The Kaminoans also failed to account for the extensive traditions of the Republic Navy, which led to a massive problem when the Navy was reintroduced. When the war broke out, members of the War College on Anaxis immediately began working to conform the new Navy to the traditions of the old one, and it didn't go well at all. The career officers that were integrated into the Navy clashed with the Jedi and the clones, and though old naval traditions were eventually integrated, there was still an unnecessary clash at first. The command structure was another severe problem for the Republic Navy, since the Kaminoans didn't really flesh it out at all. Like with the Grand Army, they assumed that the Jedi would be leading everything and had not considered the multiple problems with this assumption. Very few Jedi were capable of even trying to lead naval forces and required the help of actual experienced officers who were eventually recruited from the judicial forces or from retirement. But while that problem was solved, it was still a problem, one that the Kaminoans cost the Republic valuable time with. In terms of naval personnel, the most the Kaminoans really did was train clones in the operations of the ship. Clone naval officers with actual command training weren't all that common, and as the Republic Navy rapidly swelled in size, the number of ships came to outnumber the number of trained clone naval commanders. This is perhaps the biggest problem for which the Kaminoans were responsible for, but how could have this been fixed? To start, the Kaminoans could have trained clone admirals, or at least clone naval captains. Clone naval officers were essentially trained like normie clone commanders, as command liaisons. If the Kaminoans had trained clones to truly command the Republic Navy, the Republic would have fared better in the early naval engagements of the Clone Wars, and the Navy itself may well have ended up looking much different. A lack of properly trained naval troops was another Kaminoan shortcoming for the Republic Navy. The Republic at first had no naval commandos, no marines or soldiers capable of boarding enemy warships. While clone marines did eventually come into being, this ended up being later in the war. By that point though, the damage had been done, as with all of the other problems we've discussed today. So that was our analysis of the problems that the Kaminoans caused the Republic Navy. Consider this a conclusion in our series of why the Republic Navy was subpar. At long last, we have discussed pretty much everything about the subject, I dare say. But what do you guys think? Can you think of anything else Navy related that we've missed? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below. And just before you go guys, you know the drill, please check out all the links in the description below if you want to join the wider Geetsly's community on Discord and our Geetsly's gaming network. And if you do want to support me further, please do check out my Patreon as well. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.